All right, so let's get into the Bellular video. I'm curious. I am very curious. So let's go.
For most of us, this really is the RPG.
Let me know if it's too loud.
No. Last time, I finished the
If
story
it's too loud or
of
too
Ossus,
quiet.
and I looked on at Legacy of the Sith's really very rocky launch.
Yeah.
Oh, it turns out I had a way to go. How
You
much?
really did.
Well, 10 hours of story content.
Yeah.
Yep, that is what the slice of
Turn up Bellular?
SWTOR's
Okay, hold on.
equivalent of the MSQ released between October 2019 and February 2022 took.
Oh, let me
Of course,
make
the
sure I
game
can
did
turn it up a
release
little
more
bit,
content
like a
than
little bit
that,
from my computer.
Daily zones and things like that. But on the whole, it's not a humongous amount of story content, and in general, this game doesn't get massive quantities of content. So, was
No, it
what I
really
played
doesn't.
good? Why did this whole situation happen? Did I actually even enjoy my journey? Well, let's start.
The journey so far.
A year after Ossus introduced Malgis's return, Anri and the excellent saboteur system, Onslaught would release, and SWTOR
Yeah.
would finally have itself a nice chunk of story. Here's the deal. The Empire has enough fuel to fly straight to Corellia and get their war on. The Republic don't. As
Dude,
member
I
of
love
the
his
Empire,
freaking...
I've got to harry them at every opportunity.
Wait. I love Bellular's freshly printed gear. Like, look at that. I love that. That's a man who's there to level, grind, and do nothing else. Look at that gear. That's a man who hasn't spent a cent in the cartel market, and I'm proud of him for that. It's Sigma male, I know, right? Ah, god dang it! Can't believe I did that.
And their decision to allow for saboteur runs of both storylines is fantastic. Onderon, then, is our first planet, and it's gorgeous.
Onderon's a really pretty
old,
planet. It really
some aspects
is.
are rough, but the art direction is really solid, and it does just come together.
The art
Our story
direction of Star Wars:
centers
Old Republic has
around
always
duping
been
a fool
awesome.
of a king who's facing a coup from his own family, aided by the Republic. So
Yeah.
a perfectly easy to control man. I save him from assassins.
Yeah,
accidentally
quote unquote.
Take off all of Lana's clothes and then lose the UI to put them back on, rendering her stuck in underwear for a few hours, which was a little bit awkward. And
That's
I
more than a
proceeded
bit
to engage
awkward.
in a whole bunch of skullduggery on the planet. You see,
Good job.
we want control of their orbital defense cannons so that we can soften up the pubs. So, along with my Wookiee friend, I head out into the wilds, I fight beasts, I generally be deceptive.
Yeah, as you do.
Traditionalist
Onderon's a
faction
good
to
planet.
our side, all culminating in a big cool raid on the Republic-backed faction settlement.
He is a band
Here,
the poop
pace
head.
is brisk. The story's engaging. The characters are all fun. You can, of course, revel in being a member of the Empire and just kill so many of the named characters.
You really can.
There are
There is no limit to the amount of murder you can unleash on all of the freaking. Yeah, bug. But seriously, there's no limit to the amount of murder you can unleash on characters in this game. It's actually kind of hilarious. Like, I seriously can't wait until my wife plays, because I can't wait until she's like, that guy's a butthole, and just absolutely just instantly hits the dark side decision button and shoots someone, just plain flat out. It's gonna be hilarious.
plenty of little choices, all leading up to the big one. Do I carry out my duty, or do I destroy the cannons? Well, the controller for the cannon, failing my own mission and purpose. Of course, I do the latter.
It really
Being a
does cause a lot of
saboteur
problems
is
for the
just
story.
so much more interesting to me. And that's it for Onslaught's first planet. Somewhat short, but fun. Next, it's Meksha, a outlaw asteroid that actually would prove to be
Meksha
shorter.
was really short, but it was pretty cool.
It was
It
a
was
good
pretty
hour.
cool.
I dealt with outlaws as I tried to sabotage the Republic's refueling attempts, just that, of course, being a saboteur, I'm actually sabotaging that plan, letting the Republic fleet escape, all while drinking in the extremely cool environment of Meksha.
Meksha is one of the most atmospheric planets we've gotten, and I think Meksha reminds you of Omega from the space station from Mass Effect. That's what Meksha reminds me of. But also, I think it's it's supposed to replace all of those Coolio story space stations that we can't access from, what's it called? The Smuggler storyline, like Port Nowhere and stuff like that, like all the stuff we can't get to. So it's meant to be like another underworld hangout for the bounty hunter and for the smuggler, and I like that. But I really like the way they tied it into the story and giving the Imperial and Republic characters a reason to be there.
It's strange. This place is so nice to be in. It's just really cool. Yeah, there's not a lot of story there. And I kept on thinking, okay, this is great, this is fun, but they really could have got more out of this if they wanted to.
They really could have got more out of it.
The planets do, of course, have other content, but it is odd that the story goes so brisk at this point.
Everything moves really, really fast.
And I'm ready for Onslaught's finale, which is the Corellia Flashpoint.
Imperial should sabotage everyone to re-empower their alliance. He really should.
Welcome. I understand they have some engine limitations, and with that,
how to get spoiled from the smuggler story? That's not a spoiler. That's not a spoiler. Trust me.
Few cool choices, you know, strategic bombardment and such, and then the actual Flashpoint itself, a big ground assault. Flashpoints are essentially
the Corellian Flashpoint was not that bad.
They've got
I liked
story mode. Now, yeah,
I really liked it.
Mobs does get dull, but overall, it's a neat system. The Flashpoint is fun. The story is
that
solid.
Moment you leave
Malgus
your Facebook tab
and I
open.
Fight a big fight. He gets wounded, and I, of course, sabotage the entire Empire plan, totally ruining their mission. Which, when you think about it, is actually a pretty damn big move. And that's the thing. It actually does feel like you change the story here.
Yeah, exactly. You really do.
I feel like I really.
You really do feel like you.
I think moments like that are modern Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Like that's the thing about a lot, like the most of the storylines in Star Wars: The Old Republic. You do actually feel like you've there are some moments where you actually feel like you've done something, and they're not rare. There's a lot of points like that. But I do want to loop back to what I think it was either like Silver or Bug said, when you can kill so many people in the story that it really does become a problem for the story going forward. Sometimes it's kind of ridiculous.
Republic at its best. So while short, Onslaught was a blast. It was fun. Yeah, it was a nice slice of my favorite Star Wars setting with fun characters. After that, things get a little strange in how you play them now. You get breadcrumb quest after breadcrumb quest, though there's times where you do them back to back, even though evidently a decent span of time has passed. That's just what it's like when you're playing this stuff after the fact.
That's like the most annoying thing ever, though.
Main storylines, the Mandalorian storyline, and then the Kira/Scourge.
Don't worry, the Mandalorian storyline will get wrapped up eventually.
With, of course, Tenebrae. Of course, you know, you'll have seen him as Valkorian in the Fallen Empire Eternal Throne story.
We finally got that wrapped up, which I was happy about.
Is just brilliant. I don't want to give it away too much. Just know it was a great hour and a half that had a really, really cool final area.
Listen, I don't care what anyone says if they say, oh, they're copying in-game. I don't care. Like, that wrap-up was literally a wrap-up to everything that's happened in the Old Republic era since 2003. That puts a nice little bow on it, and it's so good. It's so, like, I like to think about it. It took us since 2003 to get us a wrap-up to this whole thing with the Emperor and Revan and Malik. That's how long this story has been going on, and that puts a bow on it. And it's so good. I love it.
It was just brilliant. Super satisfying end to that storyline. I'm glad they pulled that one off. As for the Mandalorian stuff, honestly, didn't really care.
Yeah.
Malgus, well wounded. He wasn't dead.
He really did piss off a lot of people.
Empire, he then went missing.
I'm glad it's over too.
Malgus, of course, is a powerful ally, but a worse foe. And with the kill switch that was installed in him, well, disabled, we've got to work out what's going on. So I go to Dantooine with Rivix and Krovos, who are a really
Secrets of the Enclave was fun. It was nice.
It's basically a big flashpoint with quite fun lore. So at this stage, really,
I don't like Pretty Boy. I don't trust him.
Having a pretty great time. So it's time to start Legacy of the Sith, the
And
game's
here
latest
we go.
expansion. Onslaught was brisk. Legacy of the Sith, though? Well, the new Manan storyline takes 90 minutes. There's a roughly hour-long flashpoint after that, so I suppose 2.5 hours in total.
2.5 hours,
versus
almost
the
3.
3.5 hours of Onslaught on its launch, with, of course, quite a bit more content through its patch cycle.
I'll see if
So
I can
it's
help
not
you
looking
start it
great
after
for Legacy
when
of the
we
Sith.
before I go into the
What I
free-to-play
will say, though,
experience.
is I'm back with Major Anri. The story continues in the strong form that I have come to
Cries in
expect from
desperation.
the game. And yes, on the Empire side, you're there with Anri, who's just one of the more fun characters, being a little bit more, I don't know, just kind of not a weird Sith person.
Yeah.
Basically, Manan has resources. We want him. We don't want the Republic.
If Onslaught was brief, letting Legacy of the Sith was a thong.
Competent Imperial and another lunatic Sith, and it is a nice, solid slice of SWTOR story. The usual strength supply, and with a final kiss,
I want to
the
kiss Henri.
situation is heating up, which then makes me wonder: how are the writers going to have her deal with my character being a double agent?
Yeah, oh, that's going to be
Saboteur is the
interesting.
way to go. There's just so much more intrigue.
Being a
And that's the
saboteur just
journey,
creates so much
actually.
drama.
That is the journey. Next, then, I want to talk about pros, cons, how this happened, and what I would actually recommend to you.
All right, here we go. Brief pros and cons.
Well, now that you know my experience, I just want to talk about a few pros and cons. This is hardly a review of the game, just things
I'm
that
always
came to
simping-
my mind.
If you watch the outro of my YouTube video, it is never trust a hut, always save the blue Twi'leks. Now, I know I specified blue Twi'leks, but you always save the Twi'leks no matter what. So yes, do I simp for Twi'leks? Absolutely. It's a Twi'lek. Of course he is simping. Exactly. There's not a single Star Wars fan who doesn't simp for Twi'leks. And if you say that, here's what I say. You're a liar. You're just straight up lying. Because we have all been simping for Twi'leks since we saw that first Twi'lek in episode 4. You're a liar. You're a liar. You're lying. You're lying. Simp for Huts, well, now I'm kidding. Exactly. No. And no one does not simp for Twi'leks.
Alright, characters. They continue to be well written and well performed. A lot of them are just fun, and I think that's kind of a benefit of rolling Empire and just having weird Sith people. Production
Dude, the
values
whole
are
Dark
also
Council
pretty
is
high
useless
for
right
the
now.
Conversational content. It's all, well, engaging, as I suppose a Star Wars BioWare RPG should be. Then the Old Republic era.
Hey, Bean.
Still is one
Welcome
that
to the
I
chat.
feel
Yes,
quite
exactly.
I kind of think it's the best era of Star Wars, to be honest. So I just like spending time here. And then, as a story, what I played was engaging enough. Plenty of different locations, cool things to do. It was totally worth my time. Not just throwaway MMO leveling. It was actually story to do in a game. Now, for some of the less positive things, class gameplay I think is just okay.
Class gameplay is always going to be okay. Class gameplay and combat in SWTOR is always going to be okay for at this point. I've sort of made peace with the gameplay at this point, but it is going to be what it is. I simp hard for Twi'leks. This is why my main Jedi RP tune is a Twi'lek. Exactly. I don't simp for Twi'leks. I simp for pureblood Sith. No such thing as a Sith pureblood. They're like seriously. Like I was discussing this with someone in the freaking Starforge RP Discord server. There's no such thing as Sith purebloods because they're all different races. My trooper saved what's her face, and that's because Torian was a trained, experienced Mando. She judged who. Exactly. That's why I saved Vet.
I think in a world where FF14 is doing what it does and World of Warcraft is doing what it does,
Yeah.
this just doesn't really compete. Of course,
Because
if you want
SWTOR is
stuff
copying
being
World
Star
of
Wars,
Warcraft
this
from
is your own
2011.
option. It's a good enough one at that, but I don't think it's a game.
Star Wars:
that
The
will
Old
be
Republic
playing
is literally
for
copying
completely
WoW
fun.
Cataclysm.
Now, the new expansion also did have a few bugs. I found the performance was
Yeah.
oddly bad on the planet.
Yeah,
of
performance was
Manan,
bad.
and the UI
And the bugs were
revamp
garbage.
is honestly often hideous. I don't understand why they made
bad
it so
UI.
painful on the eyes. And there are times where it does kind of feel like they pad out the length of the content by just throwing waves of enemies at you.
Now, what did I tell
I'd
you?
even be-
Didn't I say the exact same thing? I stealthed all the way through Manon because I felt like there was nothing but enemies in the way that made it feel forever. I hated Manon because it felt like there was enemies everywhere. I say Fed because Torian is a Mandalorian. He was in his element. No matter what happened, he was facing it. He was facing it as a Mandalorian. That's very true. Emotional damage. that what you miss. Emotional damage.
Be happier if this game had a near FF14 ratio of combat to conversation. That would totally play to the game's strengths. At least all of the Sith plotting and all the skullduggery, it's really fun. But perhaps they just don't have the budget to actually do that. So it's odd to see a BioWare game with the Star Wars IP of all feel this, well, sparse. What I played was great, but what I played today did come out over a 2 1/3 year span. So
That's the
try to work out
thing.
What's going on with this game? Well,
It's hard to
let's
work it
take a
out.
look at the recent history.
Here we go. Here we go.
Anthem
I knew
released
we'd
in
eventually
January
get to this.
2019. It was an unmitigated disaster.
Yeah.
And part of the plan with that game is that BioWare Austin would help in a major way. They're the same studio that handles Star Wars: The Old Republic, so after co-developing, they'd of course be helping out with the live service aspect.
See, here's the thing. That's what happened. The reason why SWTOR started suffering so bad is because literally BioWare Austin had to basically come after BioWare Edmonton and try to fix BioWare Edmonton's problem with Anthem. So literally SWTOR's team got cut, was already down to the skinny bits. They got cut down even more. That is the reason why SWTOR content has been lacking since Anthem.
Of the game, which would make sense. Of course, they'd been running an MMO for years. Anthem's limp start and total mess around the first Cataclysm event soon scuppered those plans, leading to a project to reboot Anthem. And that project was going on, I believe, mostly in BioWare Austin.
Yep.
They essentially wanted to pull off a No Man's Sky. Well, they didn't. That project lasted until February 2021, when its cancellation was announced. Now, the thing is, Legacy of the Sith was supposed to come out December of that year, but it was, of course, pushed back to February 2022. Now, I'd say that's because the public test server revealed bugs, but many, dare I say, most of the bugs from the PTS actually made it to launch.
That's the problem. See, anyone who says that needs to remember that the bugs from the PTS made it to launch. Now, if we think about EA games, that's not too ridiculous for EA games, but for SWTOR, that was a bit odd. Now there was some that I didn't think the thing was going to get delayed. I thought it was going to come out. I figured things were going to be fine. A lot of people, and well, at least I know at least one person said it was going to be delayed. But post-traumatic stress disorder or emotional damage, yes, exactly. Unironically, I like 7.20's balance changes, but it was so bugged on the release that our guild agreeably quit cold turkey until 7.0.1 dropped. Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened to a lot of people.
So it was delayed. It was still a mess on launch. All while the studio had Anthem fail, and then, of course, the project to save Anthem be cancelled.
Yeah.
So no wonder Legacy of the Sith has been messy. Now, Onslaught likely was not safe either. You see, the Old Republic pushed heavily into story content with 2015 and 16's Fallen Empire and Eternal
And some
Throne,
just still doesn't
which
work,
were pretty
i.e.
large
half the
rounds of
scoundrel
expansions that
operability
were
choices.
released
Yes,
back to
they
back.
really don't.
I mean, think about that content cadence. That was a lot of stuff. but things would only slow down from there. New content did release, but the pace was kind of slow, actually. It took from 2016 to the end of 2019 to release Onslaught.
Yeah.
The content that I did in the previous
3 years
video on this channel was at the end of 2018. It was then a full year before Onslaught happened.
Yep.
Now, I can't know this stuff for sure, but the slowdown in SWTOR sure does seem to coincide with Anthem. I don't want to get too conspiratorial, but think about Anthem. Its 2017 E3 demo was not exactly representative of a fully...
You mean they lied? They lied. Also, those mini conversation drops genuinely suck. Yes, and you can tell that there was some massive scale back with that.
Made game they had? Definitely not. The game essentially had been rebooted into its final direction around that time. I think they actually changed its name to Anthem like weeks before that E3. They even had t-shirts printed of its old name, which I think was Beyond or something. So from 2017 to 2019 for Anthem was almost certainly an all-hands-on-deck situation. I cannot confirm anything, but it does feel like SWTOR got caught up in that mess.
It makes sense.
I've got to wonder if BioWare Austin is still getting back on its feet. I mean, they've likely experienced a lot.
They don't add anything to the game story, and they're infuriating to play through afterwards. If we jump straight from Corellia straight to Manon, I think we'd be in a much better state story-wise. Only if they cut out the Mandalorian bit and put it in this, or they put it as a patch. Like, yeah, exactly, like Echoes of Oblivion. Now, like Echoes of Oblivion. That was a bit of a waste of time. But like, if they, I don't know if I fully agree with you, but you do have a point. You do have a point. If you straight from Corellia to Manon would make a little bit more sense. But that means they would have to staple on the Mandalorian patch and the Echoes of Oblivion thing. And I remember when Echoes of Oblivion came out, because that was like, they announced the thing like 2 days before the Destiny 2 raid race for Deepstone Crypt, right before Beyond Light came out, because I was doing the raid race after that. So that could have waited. That really could have waited.
A lot of brain drain, that's for sure. Now, perhaps a glimmer of hope, as I recently saw, they do have a Fairview job opening. So
yes. I was looking at this earlier this week. They are hiring for SWTOR, like on their page. Like, hold on, wait, let me All right, so let's see careers. Join our team, Austin. Mass Effect Dragon Age. You look, okay, so encounter designer, lead level designer, level designer. There was another position up here for Star Wars: The Old Republic, but I think it's gone now. But if you got graphic designer, they don't need graphic designer, they need level designers. But like, hey, if you got the experience, go apply by Austin. But then again, you will be working for EA. But yeah, so you know that they're doing something. I think the encounter design, level design, the level design, and the 2 level designers, especially because they need a new director, that's something. Jedi Under Siege and Onslaught really tried to set the tone back to Republic versus Empire, and then they dropped Echoes of Oblivion, in which a member of the Dark Council and the foremost Sith in the Empire goes to save the Jedi Master Satele Shan from the evil Sith Emperor Wu. You're not wrong. Yeah, working for EA is bad. They're gonna suck your soul, dude.
I suppose that could be a good thing. Now, to be fair to them, the content that I played
to unlock me, yeah, there you go.
Stuff made and released in that period has been great. It's just that the quantity hasn't really been there.
No, the quantity really hasn't been there. It really hasn't.
Narrative-driven MMOs in the market, like say the 4-month major patch release schedule of FF14.
Yeah.
Now, do you want a recommendation? This might all seem mixed, but I can tell you that in spite of all of this, I do wholeheartedly recommend The Old Republic, especially if you haven't played it. The
if you haven't played it.
Are, I think, at the very least solid, with many of them being fantastic. Sith Warrior, as an example, is brilliant. So there's just so much content there. And then the expansion stories are also great. Revan sees you meet characters who will become important later, and then the whole Fallen Empire, Eternal Throne story is, it is just excellent. Then, of course, what I did today was 10 hours of enjoyable story content.
Yeah.
All of that is easily worth the cost of admission, which I suppose is free, but I would just say subscribe. It's just not worth being gimped by the free-to-play stuff and all those expansions.
Even he thinks free-to-play is garbage. Daddy Revan, exactly.
And all that content is included in the sub. I mean, even if you play the game for 3, 4, or 5 months to go through all of this story content, it would still be a pretty amazing value for how much stuff you actually get. Now, Onslaught onwards, of course, does have replay.
I agree.
As
Bug.
well. I mean, at a stretch, you could do Loyalist and Saboteur for each side, but more realistically, there is the core Republic and Empire storyline. So
which is decent.
That with 2 characters, yeah, make it more like 20 hours if you want to do both. So,
I always tell people, SWTOR is good if you've never played it before. If you've never experienced the game, it's fantastic. If you've been experiencing the game for the past 10, 11 years, it's just all right.
SWTOR is not the game that has it all. But what it does have, I think, is pretty great.
Yeah.
It could do a lot worse. And I'm not really even a Star Wars person. I mean, I like the first 2 movies. The prequels are, you know, ideas, not execution. I think the sequels are mostly embarrassing. 9 felt like, I mean, an unholy affront to the art of filmmaking. I cannot...
The not Star Wars guy even hates the sequels. That's a canary in the coal mine right there. I like how on Outcast we were running out of resources, but now the war is in full unrestricted swing. Exactly.
I can't believe they released episode 9. Whatever. I only just watched it recently, and I knew it wasn't...
We're going to have to agree to disagree, Bug, but I don't agree. But you do you.
Great going in, but holy shit, I've never seen it. It was a movie edited like a TikTok. Just don't let anything linger. Oh, I could talk about that thing for a while. It's just so incompetent. So point is, I'm not saying this from the perspective of being a franchise fanboy. In the same way that I went into FF14, mostly blind in that franchise, and really did enjoy myself a tremendous amount. Similar thing here. Not as much of a, not to the same degree. FF14, I think, is a cut above narratively, especially as you get towards its like later. Well,
it really is.
Like, I guess Heavensward, Shadowbringers, Endwalker. Stormblood's got a lot of brilliant stuff, but you know what it's like.
Final Fantasy 14 is on a different level.
But I will say that if you just want a big story in a game, like this is a really good option. And certainly if you've enjoyed FF14 and you also like the Old Republic era, or at least it seems interesting to you, then it really is a no-brainer. Now, if you would like a guide through this,
I'll respond to that in a minute. Hold on.
Where to go, what to do, because of course MMOs can be pretty overwhelming.
They really can.
Check out the Swtorista story order video. That one will get you sorted, so you won't be confused about where to go. As for me in this game, well, I'm at level 80 now. May as well see what the end game is. I just realized that they have ship fighting. I thought it was only the Star Fox style thing that the game shipped with that I remember from playing it back then.
Yeah. Oh God, Galactic Starfighter. No. Oh God. Galactic Starfighter is so bad. No. God. Oh, Bellular, no.
Actual flying around ships, which is like totally up my alley. So, SWTOR endgame, I'm going to see what it is. I should have then my final SWTOR report before you...
Again, agree to disagree. I think it's trash.
Till then, though, I hope you found this interesting. Take care.
Well, dude, Bellular. All right. Like, what do you guys think? Because I think this is pretty spot on. This is pretty par for this is. I think he's pretty on point with this. And I think he really is pretty on point with this. Guys, go if you guys want to go give the video a like. Go show him some SWTOR love, man. Definitely show him some love. Cause I think like Bellular has a good head on his shoulders, and I think that he gave the game a fair shake, and him not being a Star Wars fan is saying that he recommends the game, especially if you haven't played it before. I think is it's a standout. It's a standout thing. But honest, I agree with him. Even when he said that the free-to-play experience is poop nowadays, I agree with that too. It is, and like it's the thing like that. That's why I'm doing the free-to-play experience, the free-to-play experience series. Why I'm doing that. I think that I can't wait for this poor gremlin to join GSF lobby and get bitch tattooed. You can't fly and just hide behind an asteroid placing railgun drones and compensate for the utter lack of talent. Okay.